Tyler Porter screamed as his body thrashed on the alien operating table, experiencing excruciating agony, unlike anything a human had ever known, as he was forcefully resurrected against his will. His skin burned, bones splintered and reformed, organs liquefied and resolidified. Blinding light seared his retinas as he gasped for air. An acrid stench clawed its way into his nostrils, cold metal bit into his wrists and ankles. Slowly his vision clarified. A hulking grey creature loomed over him, obsidian eyes glinting. It held an injector gun filled with glowing blue fluid. Tyler's mind reeled. His last memory was bleeding out from a gunshot wound, his Black Ops mission gone horrifically wrong. By all rights, he should be dead. Yet here he was, a captive specimen in an alien lab. The creature spoke then, in halting English. It introduced itself as Tharos, lead scientist of the Voxari. Tyler had indeed died, Tharos confirmed, but the Voxari possessed experimental reanimation and biological enhancement technology they had used to resurrect Tyler and transform him into something more than human. Hot rage erupted in Tyler's chest. He roared and strained against his unyielding shackles, demanding the Voxari release him immediately. Tharos shook his head, glittering eyes almost sad. There was no time. A cataclysmic disaster loomed on the galactic horizon, one that threatened to exterminate all life in the cosmos. Tyler, with his new Voxari-granted abilities, was now the only being capable of preventing this apocalypse, but he would need to master his strange new powers first, and quickly. The survival of every sentient species now rested in his altered hands. Tyler snarled at Tharos. "You think I'm just going to go along with this insanity? That I'll be your goddamn attack dog? I want answers, now!" Tharos sighed, his grey features etched with weariness. The galaxy teeters on the precipice of annihilation. A zealous cult, the Zothrians, seeks to rouse their slumbering deity, Zothmal. They slaughter innocents by the billions, convinced this bloodshed will grant them eternal life when their god rises to scour unbelievers from the stars. Tyler scoffed. "And you little green men can't handle them yourselves?" "We are grey, not green," Tharos corrected. "And we have battled the Zothrians for generations, yet with each passing year they grow mightier. Our projections show they will soon overwhelm us." He leaned closer, obsidian eyes boring into Tyler's. Voxari minds conceived a desperate stratagem. A human remade with our most arcane scientific wizardry could be the vital arrow in our quiver, the key to the Zothrians' defeat. "Why humans?" Tyler spat. "What makes us so damn special?" "Your species possesses a unique neurological and biological matrix, one ideally suited to meld with Voxari combat augmentations." Tharos gestured at Tyler's body. "We have crafted you into the ultimate weapon. Your skeleton intertwined with self-repairing Voxari alloys, muscles infused with fibers of Thonian silk, granting unparalleled might and quickness, optical enhancements to perceive a broad sensory spectrum, reflexes accelerated beyond the limits of flesh, a skin-tight liquid armor system to deflect harm." Tyler flexed his hands, marveling at the alien energies thrumming through him. Glowing lines pulsed beneath his skin, power unlike anything he had ever imagined. "And most importantly," Tharos continued, "a Voxari neurocomputer fused with your cerebrum, tremendously amplifying your mental faculties and allowing you to commune with our machinery." Tyler's head swam. It was too much to process. He had no love for these creatures who had stolen his death and twisted him into their tool. But if what Tharos said was true, he might be existence's only hope. "I need a minute to think," Tyler growled. "This is a lot to take in." Tharos inclined his head. "Of course. But do not tarry over long. The Zothrians advance as we speak, and the screams of the cosmos grow louder by the hour." Tyler flexed his hands, marveling at the raw power surging through his enhanced muscles. The energies thrumming beneath his skin felt both exhilarating and unnatural. He was still struggling to come to terms with what the Voxari had done to him. Being forcibly resurrected and transformed into some kind of alien super-soldier made his blood boil. I'm not going to be your goddamn attack dog, Tyler growled at Tharos. You can't just hijack my corpse and expect me to do your bidding. Tharos held up his grey hands in a placating gesture. I understand your anger and confusion, Tyler Porter, but please, allow me to show you the truth of the threat we face. Then you can decide for yourself if our cause is worthy. The hulking alien tapped a control panel, and a hidden door whooshed open, revealing a dimly lit room. He handed Tyler a bundle of sleek black fabric. Put this on. It's a bodysuit designed to work with your new abilities. Tyler begrudgingly donned the suit, which fit his muscular frame like a second skin. He followed Tharos into what appeared to be some kind of briefing chamber. A large, hollow projector dominated the center of the room. Tharos waved his hand, and the projector hummed to life, filling the air with flickering blue light. Tyler found himself surrounded by holographic scenes of carnage and horror. Cities reduced to rubble by orbital bombardment. Screaming civilians mercilessly cut down by energy weapons. Captives brutally sacrificed on blood-stained altars. This is the handiwork of the Zothrians, Tharos explained grimly. They slaughter indiscriminately in their mad quest to resurrect Zothmal. If they succeed, trillions will die, and the galaxy will fall into an eternity of darkness. Tyler watched the nightmarish images play out, his enhanced mind processing the scale of the atrocities with sickening clarity. The Zothrians were monsters, no doubt about that, but he still balked at being the Voxari's living weapon. We are not asking you to be our tool, Tyler, Tharos said as if reading his thoughts. We are asking you to be a champion for all sapient life, a shield against an evil that threatens every species in the cosmos. Tyler was silent for a long time, his supercharged brain turning over everything he had seen and heard. As much as he resented the Voxari for what they had done to him, he couldn't deny the severity of the Zothrian threat. If he had the power to stop these genocidal fanatics, didn't he have a moral obligation to act? All right, he finally said. I'll do it. I'll take on the Zothrians, but I have conditions. I'm not going to be your brainwashed super soldier. I'll train and I'll fight, but I do it my way, as a free man, not a slave. Tharos bowed his head solemnly. You have my word, Tyler Porter. Your autonomy will be respected. The alien led Tyler out of the briefing room and down a long corridor. We have prepared a vessel for you, Tharos explained. The Shadowblade, a state-of-the-art stealth frigate equipped with our most advanced weapons and technology. We have also uploaded a comprehensive training program into your neurocomputer. It will teach you to master your new abilities and gear. They entered a cavernous hangar bay. Amidst rows of Voxari ships sat a sleek angular craft that looked like a blade forged from shadows. The Shadowblade. Your first mission is prepped and ready, Tharos said. We've located a Zothrian forward base on a nearby moon. They are preparing a mass ritual sacrifice to Zothmal. You will infiltrate the base, free the prisoners, and show the Zothrians that their dark god cannot protect them. Not anymore. Tyler strode towards the waiting Shadowblade, his black bodysuit rippling like liquid night. Glowing lines of power pulsed beneath his skin. It was time to become the weapon the galaxy needed, time to bring the fight to the Zothrians, time to forge a new destiny among the stars. Tyler threw himself into training with a vengeance. He pushed his new superhuman body to the absolute limit, straining his enhanced muscles and reflexes until sweat poured down his face. The Voxari plasma rifle felt strange in his hands at first, but soon he was blasting targets with deadly accuracy. His monomolecular blade sliced through the toughest alloys like a hot knife through butter, and the gravity manipulator allowed him to perform physics-defying leaps and maneuvers. But it wasn't just physical training. Using his neurocomputer, Tyler learned to hack Zothrian computer systems and control his armor's adaptive camouflage, bending light to turn himself nearly invisible. During breaks, he spoke with Tharos, trying to understand this alien conflict he'd been thrust into. The Zothrians have always been zealots, Tharos explained, shaking his head. But in recent decades their fanaticism has reached new heights of insanity. They believe that only through galactic slaughter on an unimaginable scale can they awaken their sleeping god. The hulking alien's obsidian eyes took on a haunted quality. "I've seen horrors, Tyler. Entire cities scorched to ash. Civilians burned alive or worse, dragged screaming to the sacrificial pyres. The Voxari have fought bravely, but I fear it will not be enough. Not without you." Tyler clenched his fists. Voxari granted power surging through his veins. He was starting to understand the necessity of his role, even if he still resented the violation of his death and rebirth. Finally, the day of the mission arrived. Tyler stood in the Shadow Blade's armory, his black armor gleaming under the lights. He armed himself with an array of weapons: the plasma rifle, the monomolecular blade, the gravity manipulator. Grenades and other gadgets bristled from his suit. The stealth ship knifed through space, its black hull drinking in the light of stars. Tyler sat in the pilot's seat, his neurocomputer linked with the ship's systems. As they approached the Zothrian base on the rocky moon, he activated the Shadow Blade's cloaking device, making the ship shimmer and vanish from sight. The base loomed ahead, a jagged metal wound on the pockmarked surface. Disembarking, Tyler activated his adaptive camouflage and slipped unseen past perimeter guards and automated defenses. He ghosted through corridors, following the neurocomputer's directions towards the prisoner holding area. There he found them, dozens of aliens of various species chained and collared, their eyes hollow with despair. Rage kindled in Tyler's gut. His monomolecular blade made short work of their restraints. "You're free, go quickly," he urged them. Suddenly, alarms blared. The prisoners scattered in panic. Heavily armed Zothrian warriors poured into the corridor, plasma rifles crackling with deadly energy. Tyler leapt into their midst, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to weave between searing plasma bolts. His own rifle spat blue-white death, each shot boiling through Zothrian armor like paper. His blade flickered, and heads and limbs flew in geysers of blood. They fell before him like wheat before a thresher, but for each one he cut down, two more seemed to take their place. And then a new figure emerged from the shadows, a towering reptilian form clad in jet-black armor studded with malevolent runes. Crackling energy seethed around a massive glaive in its clawed hands. "I am Zarok, champion of Zothmal," the creature bellowed. "I will tear the beating heart from your chest and offer it smoking to my god." Tyler felt his lips peel back in a feral grin. "Just try it, you overgrown lizard." The two champions met in a cataclysmic clash of blades, monomolecular edge scraping against eldritch energy fields. They traded blows faster than the unaided eye could follow, walls buckling and floors cratering from the force of their battle. The few surviving Zothrians and the escaping prisoners could only stare in awe and terror. Tyler's monomolecular blade clashed against Zarok's energy glaive in a shower of sparks, the force of the impact sending shockwaves through the corridor. The Zothrian champion snarled, his reptilian features twisted with rage. "You fight well for a human," Zarok hissed, "but you are no match for the power of Zothmal." The champion's glaive whirled in a dizzying pattern, the crackling energy field scorching the air. Tyler barely managed to parry the blows, his enhanced reflexes pushed to their limit. His armor was already rent and torn in several places, the bodysuit beneath slick with blood. But Tyler refused to yield. Images of the horrors he had witnessed in the holoprojector room flashed through his mind. The cities reduced to rubble, the civilians mercilessly slaughtered. A righteous fury ignited in his chest. He went on the offensive, his blade a silver blur as he rained down blows on Zarok's defenses. The champion's eyes widened in surprise at the ferocity of the assault. "You cannot win," Zarok bellowed. "Zothmal's victory is inevitable. The galaxy will drown in darkness." "Not while I still draw breath," Tyler growled through gritted teeth. "As long as there are those willing to fight for the light, hope will endure." They traded blows back and forth, the corridor shaking with the force of their battle. Tyler could feel his strength waning, his enhanced muscles burning with fatigue. He knew he couldn't keep this up much longer. In a desperate gambit, Tyler allowed Zarok's glaive to slip past his guard, the crackling blade searing a line of agony across his chest. But the move brought him the opening he needed. With a roar of effort, he seized the haft of the glaive and wrenched it from the champion's grasp. Zarok's eyes widened in shock as Tyler spun the weapon around and plunged it into the Zothrian's chest. The champion convulsed, smoke pouring from the wound as the energy field shorted out. Then he toppled backwards, hitting the ground with a clang of armor. Tyler stood over the fallen champion, chest heaving with exertion. The monomolecular blade slipped from his fingers, clattering to the floor. He was dimly aware of Tharos and the other Voxari gathering around him, the freed prisoners huddling behind them. "We need to go," Tharos urged. "More warriors will be coming." Tyler nodded, too exhausted to speak. He limped back towards the Shadow Blade, his ravaged body screaming with every step. The others followed, supporting the weakened prisoners. But as they neared the stealth ship, a chorus of alarms began to wail throughout the base. Tyler's blood ran cold as he saw a flotilla of Zothrian warships descending towards the moon, their hulls bristling with weapons. "They must have detected the disturbance," Tharos said grimly. "We need to flee now." "No," Tyler rasped. "If we run, they'll just follow us and slaughter the prisoners. Someone has to stay behind and cover the escape." Tharos's obsidian eyes widened. "Tyler, no, you can't." "I can and I will." Tyler's voice was steel. "Get the prisoners to safety, Tharos. I'll buy you as much time as I can." The Voxari looked like he wanted to argue, but the determination in Tyler's gaze brooked no disagreement. With a heavy nod, Tharos began hustling the prisoners and the other Voxari towards the escape pods. Tyler sealed himself in the Shadowblade's cockpit, his hands flying over the controls. He could feel the ship's systems responding to his neurocomputer, the vessel's advanced weapons coming online. With a defiant roar of engines, the Shadowblade lifted off and rocketed towards the incoming Zothrian fleet. Plasma bolts and missiles filled the void as Tyler dove into the heart of the enemy formation, the stealth ship's cannons and launchers spitting death. Zothrian ships exploded into plumes of fire and debris as the Shadowblade danced through their midst, Tyler's superhuman reflexes allowing him to evade the worst of the counterfire. But there were too many of them, and the lone human vessel couldn't hope to prevail against an entire fleet. Warning lights flashed red across the cockpit as the Shadowblade took hit after punishing hit. Armor plating buckled, shield generators overloaded, engines sputtered and died. Tyler knew the ship was doomed. "Tharos, are you clear?" he shouted into the comm. "We're away," came the Voxari's reply, laced with static. "Tyler, I'm sorry, I wish—" "Don't be," Tyler cut him off. "This is my choice. Just promise me you'll keep fighting for the Voxari, for the galaxy, for all of us." There was a long pause. "I promise," Tharos said solemnly. "Your sacrifice will not be forgotten, Tyler Porter. The Voxari will sing your name in honor until the stars burn cold." Tyler smiled grimly as he angled the crippled Shadowblade towards the largest of the Zothrian warships. He could see the escape pods streaking away in the distance, carrying Tharos and the others to safety. That was all that mattered now. "Come on, you ugly bastards," he growled, hands tightening on the controls. "Let's finish this." He rerouted all remaining power to the frontal cannons, the ship shuddering as the overcharged weapons reached critical mass. With a final defiant cry, Tyler rammed the Shadowblade into the heart of the Zothrian flagship. The world dissolved into fire and light, the roar of the explosion drowning out all other sound. Tyler felt a moment of searing heat, then nothing at all, as the flames consumed him. In the aftermath of the battle, the Voxari looked upon the shattered remnants of the Zothrian fleet with a mixture of triumph and sorrow. They had struck a crucial blow against their enemies this day, but at a terrible cost. Tharos stood before a hastily erected memorial, Tyler's name etched into the metal in both human and Voxari script. The hulking alien bowed his head, obsidian eyes glistening. "You will be remembered, Tyler Porter," he murmured. "Your courage, your sacrifice. The Voxari will fight on in your name, no matter the cost, for the galaxy and for the memory of the man who gave everything to protect it." Around him, the other Voxari raised their fists in salute, their voices joining in a somber chant. The war was far from over, Tharos knew. Many more battles awaited. and the Zothrian threat was as grave as ever. But for now they would mourn their fallen hero, the human who had taken on the mantle of their champion and given his life for a cause not his own. The galaxy would never forget his name. Tyler Porter, the man who had fallen so that others might rise. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.